Hey, what's up? This is Joe. I'm in Flagler Beach, Florida. Just getting ready to start work tomorrow. By the time this video comes out, I'll be pretty deep into work and bike week. So I wanted to make this video to share with you the trip along the Gulf Coast of the United States through Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, and the Florida Panhandle. The whole area's got a unique culture all of its own, delicious food, and some pretty good rides. I was sort of getting really tired of just riding interstates all the time, so got off on some back roads, which took me across the Bayou and really opened up my eyes to a whole side of that area that I'd never really noticed before, just staying mostly on the interstate. So with that being said, if you enjoy this video, please hit like and subscribe. And as always, I've included an optional donate link in the drop box if you'd like to contribute to this project. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the road. About 9 a.m., 45 degrees, a little warmer than it was yesterday. Continuing on my way to Florida to work bike week in the month of February, the next piece of my journey was to take me across the Gulf, through Louisiana Bayou country, then onwards to Mississippi, Alabama, and finally the Florida Panhandle. I've ridden through this area many times in the middle of winter, and it never gets any easier. During the middle of February, one can expect freezing temperatures, rain, and high winds. This time was to be no exception. By this point, I was really getting sick of the interstates, so I made a firm resolution to stick to back roads whenever possible. Traveling pretty solid for the last 3 days, so I'm gonna look for a place to camp, but I absolutely couldn't resist stopping and trying one of these. This is a crawfish boudin ball. Basically what a boudin ball is sort of like a ball of cooked rice, chopped up shrimp, pork, meat, whatever. In this case, crawfish. For those watching this video who don't know what the hell a crawfish is, it's basically a small freshwater crustacean that looks a little like a lobster, and it's commonly eaten in the Gulf Coast region of the U.S. It just looks absolutely awesome. That's great. If you come through this area, resist the tendency to try to affect a Cajun accent. The sort of southern Louisiana accent that most people speak, unless they're like hardcore Cajun straight off the Bayou, is very subtle, and it's just a very subtle inflection. Nolans, yeah, Nolans. I love to be here in Nolans. Nobody in Louisiana says that, and I've actually been corrected on it. You know, when in Louisiana on the Bayou, just be yourself, just talk normal, how you always talk. When I stopped at this gas station / restaurant, I was shocked at the line to order food and knew this must be a good sign. Normally I would have stayed on my diet, but in this case, way out on the Bayou with few options except delicious Cajun food, one simply has to make the best of the situation. So this is the line to get the hot food. As I was to find out in talking with the gentleman ahead of me, this was not simply a gas station restaurant, but a well-known and beloved Louisiana institution to which people came from miles away. This is something called a crawfish pistolette. I don't know exactly what it is, but obviously not on my diet today. Kind of like, what other choice do I have? There's nothing else to eat around here. So undoubtedly one of the most decadent things I've ever tried. So basically we got the Cajun spice crawfish, vegetables and stuff like that into a bun, and then like chicken fried. So I just love going around and trying new things, and especially getting surprised when I see a big line of people, because that's always a good sign. I'm just outside of Baton Rouge. I heard about a campground for free next to a shooting range, so let's go. Wind was kicking up all harder than I'll get out, so I found this place next to the shooting range. And I got my boudin that I bought. Billy's boudin. My Cajun spiced pork and rice stuffed into a intestine. And it's also matcha, which Lily made. So it's about to be a combination of Mexico and Louisiana. We'll see how that works out. It's like an old Bayou shack out that way. I don't know if somebody's living in there or not. Clean your fish right there. Beautiful. Cot Springs, Louisiana. So it's absolutely freezing out here. Temperature's 32 degrees. My lips are numb. But you know, it wasn't that cold. Typically my metric as far as cold is whether or not I have to put my warm weather sleeping bag inside of the cold weather. I didn't have to do that last night. My 30-degree mummy bag was plenty. But so 7 a.m. walking around, getting warmed up and ready to start the day. Got the sun coming up over that way, frost on the ground. Gonna be a beautiful day. After getting the blood pumping a bit, I headed into the freezing air towards the spot I had in Mandeville, a small town near New Orleans, situated on the northern side of Lake Pontchartrain. This place is about as concealed as it gets. Old abandoned house back this way. I got my tent in front of the bike. Noticed there was a glare coming off of that windshield, so I just put that brown tarp on it. Through the trees and stuff, you almost can't even see it. So if anybody did give me any shit about being here, I've got a pretty good excuse. Was tired, needed a place to rest and warm up. Since I've been back in the United States, I've just been shocked, like what happened with the inflation and stuff. So this was a place that Scooter Tramp Scotty had showed me a few years ago, and we had stayed here just when everything was shutting down, I guess 2 years ago. But somebody's dumped a bunch of construction debris over that way, and I'm always paranoid when I see stuff like this about nails and screws and stuff like that. So I could have cleared it out, but wasn't really worth the time. Woke up and checked the thermometer on the bike, 30 degrees. So a little chilly. Anytime I moved around, I'd sort of introduce a stream of cold air deep into the sleeping bag, which kind of sucked. But anyhow, it's been like this pretty much ever since I left Querétaro, Mexico. Cold and miserable, rainy. You know, all the time I spent with Lily down there getting soft, laying in a nice warm bed, you know, that's all over now, and it's time to toughen up. On the inside of my rain fly, condensation has actually turned to ice. Hoping to make it to Florida by nightfall, I chose some back roads hugging the coastline, which would take me through Biloxi, where I decided to stop for barbecue and change my oil. There's right over there, welcome to Louisiana. And then right across that bridge is Mississippi. So riding across the bayou, very enjoyable. getting off the beaten path and riding through these little towns. Anytime I take the interstate, almost like as if you're riding over a place in a plane. So this way, you know, you're out there, you get to see everything. You know, you're up close and personal with the place that you're exploring. Outside of the O'Reilly's parking lot. I don't mind throwing these guys a bone, and they've just been so helpful over the years, letting me borrow tools, letting me borrow drain pans, coming out and asking if I needed help. Absolutely my go-to place wherever I'm at. I look for an O'Reilly's. Ready for an oil change. Guys in there let me borrow their drain pan. I got some towels and oil, so we're about to get it done. Now that I was fed and my lady was properly lubed, I headed on towards Alabama. Mobile was a city I'd ridden through many times on the interstate, but had never really seen until now. I had no idea it was so beautiful. Finally, I'd made it to Florida. I was practically an ice cube on a motorcycle at this point, but I knew that now I could take it easy. I had another outlaw spot saved on my map from last year and began looking for the telltale graveyard on a sandy road. Kind of like hard packed sand. Here's my spot from last year. Got a little bit of trash, but it's pretty well secluded. There's a tent right over there. I don't know if anybody's inhabiting that, but Getting packed up, stayed out here without a problem. Got everything set up, and about 7:30, just completely keeled over, man. Slept until 5:30 this morning, so obviously I needed to sleep. Riding at a much more relaxed pace now that I was in Florida, I continued my journey eastward, with no particular stopping point in mind. When I felt like stopping, I'd simply find a place and stop. How you doing? What's that?
Don't go in there.
Why's that?
They make you fat in that place.
Sitting here in a barbecue joint. This is one of my favorite things to do as I'm coming across the Gulf. There's good barbecue to be had almost everywhere you go, and it works with my diet. Delicioso. Pulled pork, beans with pork, collard greens with pork. As I continued moving east, I noticed a dramatic, nearly 20-degree temperature increase. I quickly shed 2 of the 3 layers I'd been wearing and rode in a t-shirt as the temperature reached 80 degrees. Southeast Tallahassee. You'll notice I'm not wearing my jacket. You know, I went from being freezing cold to now burning up. So that's Florida for you. Florida is one of my absolute favorite states in the U.S. because of the weather, good variety of food, and awesome people who embody a lackadaisical attitude toward living in which nobody really cares what you do as long as you don't bother them. It's a state full of freedom-loving patriots and hard-working immigrants from around the world who've come over in search of the American dream, with the majority being intensely patriotic of the United States. Town called Perry, Florida. All kinds of interesting trees and swampland. This is where I'm camping for tonight, under this beautiful grove of, don't know what kind of trees these are. I think they're myrtle trees, but a lot of Spanish moss hanging down. It's very trippy, nice and shaded in. There's a town building or something over there. All I did was go in there and talk to the lady. Just exercising the long lost art of talking can sometimes go a long way. In this case, scored me this pretty sweet spot out here. It's been pretty windy the whole time, so after a few hundred miles I was ready to stop. Always entertaining and often delicious, the ride along the northern edge of the Gulf of Mexico is a chance to experience a unique side of America. Every time I make this ride in February, the weather is generally miserable, which makes the arrival on the East Coast feel like a big accomplishment. I'll be happy to make this ride again in the future under better conditions, but for now I'll rest up and continue east.